My world shattered the day I walked in on Brooke with another man. It's not in our bed. No, that would have been too cliché for her. They were in my home office, on the desk where I'd spent countless nights building a future I thought was for us. The man was Mark, my so-called best friend. Classic, right? The betrayal was a physical blow, knocking the air from my lungs. I just stood there, invisible in the doorway, as they laughed, oblivious. Brooke's laughter, the sound that used to be my favorite song, now felt like nails on a chalkboard. I backed away silently, the scene seared into my brain. The initial shock quickly morphed into a cold, chilling rage. She thought I was weak, predictable Tyler, the nice guy who would just cry, pack his bags, and leave. She had no idea who she had just awakened. That night, I didn't confront them. I didn't scream or break things. I went to a hotel, and with a mind startlingly clear, I started to plan. Revenge wasn't going to be a quick, angry outburst. It was going to be a masterpiece, a slow burn that would dismantle the world she so carefully constructed. Brooke loved two things more than anything: her social standing and money. She was a rising star in the local PR scene, crafting perfect images for high-profile clients. Her own image was her most prized creation, and that's where I would start. I knew her passwords, her secrets, the little white lies, and the big, glaring deceptions she told everyone to maintain her flawless facade. Tyler the weakling was also Tyler the IT guy who set up her entire digital life. What a terrible oversight on her part. The first step was subtle. I began by anonymously leaking small, embarrassing tidbits about her clients to rival gossip blogs. Nothing that could be traced back to her directly, but just enough to create chaos. A politician she represented was suddenly questioned about his charity donations. A socialite's all-natural beauty brand was exposed for using cheap chemicals. Panic started to ripple through her professional life. She'd come home frantic, complaining about a string of bad luck. And I'd sit there, patting her hand, offering sympathetic words while my heart pounded with a dark, thrilling satisfaction. I was her shoulder to cry on, the stable, boring boyfriend she could rely on while her perfect world started to crack. She'd complain about Mark being distant too. Of course he was. I had made sure some of his own questionable business dealings found their way to the right people. Next, I targeted her social life. Brooke was the queen bee of her circle, the one who organized every brunch, every gala, every weekend getaway. Using a cloned version of her phone, I started sending messages. I'd cancel brunch reservations at the last minute. I'd send a snarky comment to one friend, supposedly from Brooke, then send a conflicting, gossipy message to another. I created a web of confusion and hurt feelings, making her appear flaky, arrogant, and two-faced. Her friends started to pull away. The invitations dwindled. When she'd cry to me about how everyone was suddenly icing her out, I'd hold her and say, "Maybe you just need a break, babe. They're probably just busy." The whole time I was the puppet master, pulling the strings of her social demise. She felt isolated, paranoid, and had no one to turn to but me, the man she was betraying. The irony was exquisite. The financial aspect was the riskiest, but it was the cornerstone of my plan. Brooke had a secret savings account, her escape fund, as she once jokingly called it. I had helped her set it up, linking it to a series of offshore accounts for tax purposes. Over the next few weeks, I began siphoning the money out, bit by bit, moving it through a labyrinth of cryptocurrencies until it was untraceable. I watched her balance shrink while my own anonymous digital wallet grew. I was funding my new life with the money she had set aside to leave me. She was so consumed by her professional and social fires that she didn't even notice the financial drain until it was too late. The day she finally checked her account and saw a balance of nearly zero, the scream she let out was music to my ears. That was the day I chose for the grand finale. She came home in a full-blown panic, tears streaming down her face, phone in her hand, talking about bank fraud. She saw me sitting on the couch, calmly sipping a whiskey. The first time she looked at me, and the confusion in her eyes was priceless. "Tyler, did you hear me? All my money is gone," she shrieked. I just took a slow sip and smiled. "I know," I said calmly. I took it. Her face went from panic to disbelief, then to dawning horror. I laid it all out for her: the client leaks, the social sabotage, the missing money. I explained how I had been the architect of her downfall every step of the way. I told her I knew about her and Mark. The color drained from her face. "But why?" she stammered. "Why wouldn't you just leave me?" I stood up and walked over to the window, looking out at the city. "Because leaving would have been easy," I said, turning back to her. "You thought I was weak. You underestimated me. You built your life on a foundation of lies, Brooke. I just showed everyone the truth. You didn't just cheat on me. You tried to humiliate me. You took my kindness for weakness." I then showed her the final piece of my plan. On my laptop was a pre-written email, ready to be sent to every client, friend, and family member in her contact list. It contained screenshots of her texts with Mark, detailed proof of her lies, and evidence of the client secrets she'd failed to protect. It was a career and social life-ending manifesto. She begged, she pleaded, she cried. She offered to do anything to make it right, but it was too late. There was no remorse in her eyes, only fear. She wasn't sorry for what she did. She was sorry she got caught. "Mark is finished too," I told her. "His business is under investigation, and his wife knows everything. You two chose each other, so you can enjoy the fallout together. I didn't send the email. I didn't need to." The threat was enough. I had already won. I packed a single bag, leaving behind everything in that apartment that reminded me of her. As I walked out the door, I left her sitting on the floor, a broken woman in the ruins of the life she had built. She wasn't just broke and friendless, she was exposed. Her perfect image was shattered forever. I walked out into the night, not with the triumphant glee I expected, but with a quiet sense of finality. The rage was gone, replaced by a hollow emptiness. Revenge, it turns out, is a dish best served, but it leaves a bitter aftertaste. It doesn't heal the wound, it just cauterizes it, leaving a permanent scar. I never looked back. I moved to a new city, started a new life with the funds she so graciously provided. Sometimes I wonder what happened to her. Did she try to rebuild? Did she and Mark cling to each other in the wreckage? I don't know, and I don't care to find out. My revenge wasn't about watching her suffer forever. It was about taking back my power, about proving to myself that I wasn't the weak man she thought I was. I escaped. She is trapped in the prison of her own making, a punishment far darker and more permanent than anything I could have ever planned. And that, for me, is justice. Thanks for listening to my story. If you've ever been through something similar, remember that your strength is your greatest asset. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories.